from Berserk RL. It's a long question, but I'll just summarize it. Business both derives from the state and is so good at capturing the state. Why isn't abolishing the state a better strategy for defeating business power than enhancing the state's power would be? Well, there's a very simple answer to that. It's not a strategy. And since it's not a strategy at all, it can't be a better strategy. The strategy of eliminating the state is back in the level of let's have peace and justice. How do you proceed to eliminate the state? Okay. Can you think of a way of doing it? I mean, if there were a way of doing it in the existing world, everything would collapse and be destroyed. You just can't do it. There's nothing to replace it. If there was a rich, powerful network of cooperatives, community organizations, worker control of industry, extending over the whole country and the whole world, in fact, yeah, then you could talk about eliminating the state. But to talk about eliminating the state in the world as it exists is simply to keep yourself in some remote academic seminar or small group, saying, gee, this would be nice. It's not a strategy, so it can't be a better strategy. We are faced with realities. What is described here, and in fact it's true, I've written plenty about it too, is that we have a number of systems of power, closely interlinked. One of them is corporate power, business power. That's by far the most dangerous of all. That means effectively unaccountable private tyrannies. A second, pretty closely linked to them, is state power. And the comment is correct. As the commentator says, I've written about it too a lot, that state power tends to be overwhelmingly influenced by concentrated private power. Okay, those are real problems. Now we face strategies. So for example, let's say take say healthcare, okay, right on the front pages. What's the strategy for dealing with the fact that tens of millions of people can't get the best health care they can get is to be dragged to an emergency room when it's too late to do anything? I mean, that's a real problem. And that's a huge part of the population. Second problem is that in a privatized, unregulated healthcare system, like the United States, and I shouldn't say like because it's the only one, in a privatized, unregulated healthcare system where the drug companies are so powerful that the government isn't even allowed to negotiate drug prices. In that kind of system, first of all, healthcare is strictly rationed by wealth, very strictly. And secondly, it is designed in such a way that the federal budget is going to be destroyed. You just take a look at the tendency lines. There won't be anything left for schools, for Social Security, for worker safety, anything. What will be left is for the military. That's untouchable. It keeps going up. Another problem we ought to look at. So what do we do about it? Well, it's not a strategy to say, okay, let's abolish the state. That doesn't do anything about it. In fact, it's just a gift to the corporate state power sector because it offers nothing. A short-term answer is to do what the large majority of the population has wanted for decades, and namely to develop a sensible national health care system of the kind every other industrial country has. Well, it happens to be a large majority opinion, so you don't have to break down many walls to organize people about it. It has been for decades. It's strongly opposed by the corporate state nexus, but that's not unbreakable. Bigger victories have been won. It's not an anarchist position, it's just a simple, elementary human position. Well, okay, if you're interested in the long-term project of the questioner, namely dissolving state and corporate power, you should be paying attention to that. And you should be organizing workers on that. You shouldn't leave it to Rush Limbaugh to organize people with real legitimate grievances. That's the way to fascism. You should be out there organizing them themselves on their concerns. Their concerns can be related to, and easily related to, much longer term anarchist style projects, but that's where anarchists should be working.